What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Mastercrafted. It is Frank and me again for another Mind Over Meta on Monday, and we're here to talk about this last week in 40k and what was going on. Frank, what's happening? What are we looking at?
Well, it's kind of a wonky week, but some funny things going on. Deathwatch won a tournament without going undefeated, which some of the data looks a little weird. Necrons did the same thing. Marines, if you look at this data is just for 28 players or more, five or more rounds, just like I always do. But if you look down just a little bit smaller events as well, Space Marines are just on an absolute tear. They are winning all kinds of stuff. Necrons had an amazing week. The number that hurts the most to look at is Imperial Knights, 29%. We talked about this earlier, actually. If you look at all of the data from tabletop battles, they're actually at 48%. So I think in the general meta, they're fine. But when you get to that GT level, there's too many answers for them. They're really struggling. So those are the things that really stuck out to me. I think it's kind of funny. Deathwatch was in last place last week and they're in first place this week. That's what happens when you don't have a ton of players and you have a small sample size. But next week, I'll put out some numbers since the data slate and we'll take a look at that. But yeah, for now, everybody's jumping all over the place, which is actually, I think, a sign that the meta is pretty healthy.
Yeah, it really isn't that bad. We do, give some certain factions some shit for being generally towards the top more often than others, but they're really not oppressively, right? They're not just up there, impossible to beat. Things are still winning despite how good some of these armies are. Yes, very funny. Deathwatch made the jump all the way from last to first, and then Imperial Knights. I mean, this must have been the week where the most competitive players all played RTTs, and then the casual players all played GTs or something.
Yeah.
Like, how did that happen? Because for it to only be 28% on the large GT level, but be a 44 overall for the games played this week, like that had to be a lot of winning on the other side.
Yes.
That's very funny. That's very cool. Yeah, there's really a couple other things that really dropped down. Chaos Space Marines didn't do as hot
That
this
number is
week.
nonsense.
Huh?
For the record. That number is nonsense. For the record, they are not that bad. I don't have to get my butt kicked by Mikey P last week, and watching what Trey from our meta has been doing with them. They're not that bad. I think they run into the same problem as like Space Marines, numbers wise. The numbers don't necessarily reflect how good they are, because they have a lot of players and a lot of newer players as well play those armies. So
yeah, it does also seem, one of the other things we were looking at that we were talking about before we went live is right there at where Space Marines are. It's only a quarter of the factions are winning over half the games, right? We are seeing this week alone that those factions there at the top, those 8 armies are winning more games than anything else, and everything else had an under 500 average this week. So those factions were really representing this week. Leagues of Votan, I thought that was awesome to see them snag a win with the new one. I'll have to go look. I don't remember what the detachment was, but that was cool. And then starting to see some Drukhari up there, high skill level after that new codex. 3 players in winning position. Very cool.
Yeah. And just a couple below them, you have Space Marines, who obviously had a pretty big change to Ultramarines this time around. And if you know me, Space Marines, I think, are one of those armies that get too much love maybe sometimes from GW, but I get it. They're the poster children. But again, their numbers here, 51 is very good in the current meta. But it still doesn't reflect how good they are right now. I don't think they. If you go back and watch the live stream from Tuesday, you can watch Ben Neal messing around with the new Ultramarines detachment and a bunch of Vitrix, and man, they're good. They're really good, and I think their Space Marines it seems to happen a lot of times near the end of an edition. GW really buffs them up, and I think that they could be. I mean, they have the most undefeateds by like a wide margin here. They have the most players. Oh, not the most players this week, but they're up there, the second place or second most players. But yeah, tons of players in winning position, 5 undefeateds, 2 wins. Like I said, in the smaller tournaments, they have even more wins. So they're in real good shape. In my personal opinion, they're probably the best army in the game right now. I just think they have so many options, and so many of those options are really good. They have a lot of bad options too, which I think is part of what brings the win rate down. Is less experienced players don't know the right builds, or they really have a build that they really want to play that isn't necessarily the meta build, and that can drag those numbers down a little bit. But I think they're better than 51% for sure.
Yeah. Unfortunately, we still haven't seen a First Company Task Force GT win, but fingers crossed before the end of the edition, someone will pull it off. Gotta have faith.
Speaking of weird detachments that won, Death Guard had a terrible week. They did win a tournament, and it was with Taliban summoners. So I just wanted to mention that because that's crazy.
Yeah. We'll go ahead and run through that list. Actually, the Tallybungus list by Aidan Smalley. He had a Lord of Contagion, a Lord of Virulence, a Malignant Plaguecaster, 2 of them actually, Rodigus, a unit of 5 Marines, and 2 units of 10. 2 units of 10 Plague Bearers, then 1 Chaos Rhino, a Beast of Nurgle, a unit of Spawn, 2x3 Death Shroud Terminators, Fetid Bloat Drone, and then 2 Blight Launcher Drones, and then a 6 and a 3 of Nurglings, and a unit of 10 Poxwalkers. We have not really seen Taliban Summoners come out to play much. But, man, that is a cool list. What are your thoughts? You actually play Death Guard.
I do, and I've never played Taliban Summoners. I just don't have enough of the demons. They do some interesting things, I guess, right? Like they, they give out contagion to the demons if they're. How does it work? Let's see. Plague Legion's unit within 7 inches of one or more Death Guard units, so that they have contagions as well, as long as they're close to Death Guard units. Yeah, I don't really know. I haven't run the detachment, and it's cool to see it doing really well. I'm looking at all of the enhancements and the stratagems right now, and I don't know.
Yeah. What do the 2
back?
enhancements that are included in this list do? He has the Fell Harvester and the Beckoning Blight.
Yep. Let's see. Fell Harvester is Death Guard model only. Add 2 to the attacks characteristic of the bearer's melee weapons. So that's pretty nice. That's on the Lord of Contagion.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. That's pretty nice. And you said Beckoning Blight.
Yep.
Each time a Plague Legion's unit from your army is set up on the battlefield using the Deep Strike ability, if it is set up wholly within 12 inches of the bearer, it can be set up anywhere that is more than 6 inches. So it's 6-inch Deep Strike for Plague Legions, but you still have to come down near Death Shroud or whoever that
near the Lord of Virulence that has it.
Yeah.
Okay. Are you allowed to charge after that?
Yeah.
Oh man, that's not bad.
So I guess if you put the Lord of Virulence were there Death Shroud in this list?
Yep, 2x3. So he's got a whole unit with him.
You put a Lord of Virulence with one and a Lord of Contagion with the other. Lord of Virulence comes in 6 inches away, and then you can bring, I don't know, big fat demon down.
Yeah.
Within 6 inches, which you can already do this stuff in Demonic Incursion, and it's a little easier. This is a little harder to combo. So, but I do think it's super cool to see this win a tournament.
Yeah. I don't know. I do feel like, if you're really wanting to lean into the Nurgle theme, right, you want to play kind of that aggressive kind of Demonic Incursion style, but you don't have many of the Khorne demons or anything like that. By basically giving yourself a way to include Death Shroud Terminators to actually be able to slap and have some more punch. I feel like this is just a better version of only Nurgle demons in Demonic Incursion. But I imagine
it plays a lot different than the Nurgle detachment, right?
Mm-hmm.
In Demons, the Nurgle detachment is just like a sludge fest of battle shock tests and just kind of a nightmare to fight through. And this is actually deadly. Malignant Plaguecasters are insanely good. Probably, as far as I'm concerned, the best unit in the book. Their price point is, I don't even understand personally, but
yeah.
And I play Death Guard, so
you just take 2 of them, put them in a Rhino, and you have the budget Redeemer, right? The classic combo.
Yeah, love it.
Yeah, I do think this is actually some very good tech in this list. 2x3 Death Shrouds, being able to 6-inch and charge, as well as basically do that, because it didn't seem like there was a limit on your ability to do that with multiple demon units also coming in within 12 of the bearer. So like you can just stat check somebody, be like, can you pull down Rodigus? Probably, bring in a unit of your plague bearers, bring in Rodigus, 2 units of Death Shroud, and you're just like, now all of this is just battling in the midboard. Do you really have what it takes to bring all of this down? And
Yeah.
it seems like at least at this tournament, they did not have what it took.
No, and you can't underestimate plague bearers either. They might be the best like objective holding unit in the game. They're certainly one of the
Yeah, definitely one of the. I mean, besides like maybe like pink horrors, like they're one of the more tanky and durable versions of just battle line demon units for sure. Yeah, super cool list. Maybe one day we'll see our buddy Bo run this down in the Springs. I feel like this would be right up his alley. Very solid list, and congratulations, Aiden, to your GT win. Now we're going to go talk about the other thing that's plaguing the meta right now, which is Victrix Guard spam. Yeah, we got Lions, Tigers, and Victrix Oh My by Daniel Twitty. He did win the Hive City Rumble, and if you wouldn't have guessed it, what did he win with? 18 Victrix Honor Guard. Make it 20 because he brought Old Calgar, who just happens to have 2 more. So the full list, it is in Gladius Task Force. He's running Captain Sicarius, Tigerius, a lieutenant with combi weapon, Old Calgar, Gilliman, Uriel Ventress, 1 unit of Intercessors, 2 Lancers, a unit of 5 Stern Guard, and then the aforementioned Victrix Guard. One of them does come with the full setup for the banner and everything else. The other ones he chose just to run the base loadouts for them.
I think the banner and stuff are epic heroes, so you can only take
Gotcha. Yeah. So how do you feel seeing this, Frank? Do you want to play against this anytime soon?
Man, Gladius is just so good overall. It's so flexible and allows you to do so many cool things. I love melee builds, so not seeing there's no Judiciar, right? Yeah, not seeing a Judiciar makes me happy. But the Victrix they're really good, dude. I think they're heavily undercosted right now. They don't have an invuln anymore, but 2-up save and 4 wounds and -1 to wound with the character attached. And what else they get extra strength, or is it +1 to wound or extra strength? Extra strength in attacks once per game.
So the unit with the banner can pop it for extra attacks, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, extra attacks.
Yeah, very.
Yeah, I mean,
very
4 wound guys. Big, yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
All good. Yeah, when Phil and I did the video talking about Blade of Ultramar coming out, this is one of the things we talked about, and I feel validated at least in this a little bit. There's no reason to play Blade if you are playing just a fighty build. Like, sure, he's got 2 Lancers, but that's not enough shooting to be like, oh, I need Devastator Doctrine or anything like that. This list having guaranteed fight on death, where you have access to Gilliman reducing CP to make that cheaper, and just being able to blood surge into people, reactive closer to them. Like, this is just such a pain to deal with. And against certain factions, like I don't think certain factions can deal with this. Like, I just don't know how you deal with this. Your best bet is to almost just try to like ignore them. Don't kind of corral them and just try to score as many points as possible. Because the more you interact with them on their turn, the more value they get, because they're going to dice you up for sure if you go in there.
I don't know how you can ignore them, because they can advance and charge. Everyone once per game, but then every unit can still do it as well, like throughout the game. I don't think you can ignore them.
Well, you can't ignore all 3, but like you're gonna have to like, I'm only trying to deal with one of these at a time. You're gonna really have to just like, either I'm staying away from you, for the ones you aren't dealing with, or you're trying to just bubble wrap them. Sure, they have advance and charge, but they still have base move 6. Like as a guard player, right? I'm gonna just advance a unit, a 10-man, try to cup them. But that's what I would say is try to just nullify them, keep them away. Don't try to overdo it. Just, oh man, it is a lot to chew through. The -1 to wound when they're being led, and then you also have with Calgar attached, the regular Victrix. You're gonna have to get past that first 4-up invuln whenever your high AP comes out. So that's just another thing to work through. But yeah, this list can just mob around in the mid board, and it is going to be a menace for a lot of other melee armies itself.
I think it does what it kind of does a lot of what the Black Tide list in Templars does. The Black Tide Gladius list with the Blood Surge and the reactive, but the footprint is smaller than like those giant bricks, so you can hide them better behind terrain. Can a Judiciar attach to the Victrix?
I do not believe so. I'm pretty sure the only way to do it, you'd basically have to like sack one of them to take Blade Guard with the Judiciar to have as like a heroic threat.
Gotcha. Yeah.
But yeah, I do think there is definitely that would be something to consider tech wise. And when you're getting to that point, right, like if you're maybe dropping it down to 12, you could even flirt with the idea of going to Blade if you wanted to, because now you don't need the fight on death as much. Your Blade Guard get tankier from being able to also get the -1 from the strat there. But yes, this is the first confirmed that I know of, GT win by a 18 Victrix list. So we definitely wanted to get it and talk about it. And just, I'm sure this was a big surprise for what was in here for all of those watching.
I don't imagine it will be the last win by 18 Victrix before. Hopefully, they get nerfed a little bit. I think they need a little points bump.
Yeah, I will not be surprised if they go up. I don't know. I honestly don't know if they're going to get hit in the December slate or not.
Might be too early.
I think it might be too early, unfortunately. So we're going to be maybe watching these until March-ish, just be the menaces that they are. But again, I don't think it's anything that just breaks the game. It is very good. It is a pain to deal with, right? It's one of those units we like to rag on, but you definitely can still win your games against them.
Hey, and Riptides will... you play Tau, Riptides like those guys, I think.
Yeah, I mean, Riptide's already got a big incentive boost, this fall. Now you're like, if you're not taking 3, what are you doing? Like that's just the answer right there. Okay, all right. Any final thoughts on this week, Frank?
No, I think that some of these numbers do look a little crazy, like I said before. But next week I'm going to put out a much larger sample, and I think you'll see that I don't think there's not one single army that falls outside the Goldilocks zone. There are probably a few detachments, but the meta is super healthy. The game's super fun right now. I think you can almost play anything, and there's a strategy to win with it, which makes the game really, really fun.
Yeah, I would definitely agree. So, all right, we will see you all later this week. We got a stream coming up tomorrow. It's going to be Frankie here playing Orcs, I do believe, is what we have locked in right now. Then we're going to have List Lab Wednesday. We're going to do Hobby Hangout Thursday. We're going to start just having a full schedule for the week. We'll have some Monday through Friday. So we'll drop that at some point soon. But in the meantime, do not forget that victory isn't given, it is forged. And it's forged right here on Mastercrafted. We will see you all next time.